Hey friends, it's Missy again. Thanks so much for stopping in today. I'm back with a new layout for Pinkfresh Studio, and I'm going to be using the new Oh What Fun collection, which is their new Christmas line. And I've got 3 photos there to scrap a couple of cute Christmas selfies with some red and green. And I've got a couple pattern papers from the collection already chosen. And I'm actually going to start with my title because I've been dying to use these alpha dies. These are called the Heather Lowercase. And I'm going to cut them on some white cardstock here, just a little scrap piece. And I've coated it with some clear gesso already and let it dry because I wasn't sure if I wanted to paint the letters. So I went ahead and did that just in case. And my title's going to be Feelin Festive. I went ahead and decided that before I even started the layout because I had to know what letters to use to cut. And I wanted to try it out first, before gluing things down, and I wanted to kind of test everything out. So I went ahead and decided on the title first. And one of my favorite things about this die set is you not only get the solid letter, but you get the outline of it as well. And so I think that's really fun. So you get some choices there just by using this one die set. So I got my title already cut. I'm going to just put that aside and get to work on the actual design of the page. And I knew that I wanted to combine this green and white striped paper with this white paper that's got these little different colored diamonds and stars on it. And I love this green paper because it's like a Christmas green, but a lot softer. It's kind of a faded green color, and I really like that. So I wanted to kind of do some mixing and matching, and I like torn edges. So I just ripped it, tore it, and went ahead and glued it down. And then I'm going to sort of arrange my photos in a horizontal way, kind of right where the tear is. And I'm going to use that really cute Christmas tree die cut. But I am going to do some mixed media on the background. So I'm going to start with using some white gesso, first on the bottom white section, because I know I want some watercolor down to break up all that white. And I want to prep the paper first and also fade out some of the pattern. And I love using white gesso for that because it's going to give me a lot of area to mix and match watercolors and let the colors kind of run and blend together. And if I didn't use gesso, then whenever the watercolor hits the paper, it's pretty much just going to soak right through and it's not going to run and blend. And I love doing that. So I'm going to do some white gesso at the bottom and then a little bit of white gesso on the green paper. I kind of want this to look snowy and faded, and my photos are definitely not snowy photos. I live in Florida, so yeah, what is snow? I don't even know, but I like creating the idea of snow on my layouts anyway because it just screams Christmas, and I think it just goes perfectly with these papers and these colors. So I've got a little bit smudged at the top, I've got a lot of white down there at the bottom, and then I'm just going to go from there. I'm going to go ahead and get my photos layered with a little bit of tissue paper. This is just plain white tissue paper from my stash that you would use in a gift bag or a present. And I like this because it just creates this subtle little messy border behind the photo. Kind of gives it a little bit more separation from the background, which helps it stand out a little bit more. And I'm also going to pop my photos up using some adhesive foam. And I get that from Walmart or Michael's, and it's adhesive on one side and it's perfect. It just gives the photos a little lift. And since I've got 3 smaller photos, I want to kind of make them a little bit crooked and not in a perfect straight line, but I also want to add in that Christmas tree to kind of break up the line of photos. And then I went through the die cuts. There are 2 packs of die cuts in this collection, and I went ahead and pulled some of those out. And then as I was looking through them, I decided that I really like this navy blue color. And so I went through everything and started to cut out and pick out things that had that dark blue color because I just felt like it would be a nice addition and something a little bit different to add in to the traditional red and green for Christmas. I like using red and green for Christmas, but I like to tie in other colors too. Sometimes it's gold, sometimes silver. In this case, it's going to be navy blue, and I think it's the perfect addition. So I've got a couple different things here. I'm not going to wind up using all of these, but I just wanted to start to play around and see what I wanted to put where. And around the photos, since my photos are small and I've got that big tree there, I'm looking for smaller things. I'm going to cut a couple of pieces to layer just to give the little hint of that navy blue color around the photos there, and then start to play around with some other things. And I know that my title is pretty big compared to all of these other small pieces, so I know that it's going to go underneath the photos. And in order to break up that white, I'm going to add some watercolor down on the white paper here. And I'm going to go with the navy blue color. So I'm going to do a little bit of blending here with the Pinkfresh Studio watercolors. I'm going to use the Sapphire, which is that royal blue color, and mix in some of the Licorice, which is the black color, and just keep working with those two colors to create that navy blue, or as close to the navy blue as I can get it. And I'm actually doing the blending on the layout, and like I said earlier, the gesso is what allows that to happen. And I'm just using, I would call that a medium-sized brush here, and just using water and the colors to help blend and spread. And I'm trying to keep the blue underneath where the green paper is torn and keep it mostly on the white section. And I'm going to try to spread it out a little bit further, maybe not all the way to the edge of each side of the layout, but I definitely want it to kind of come down, kind of not to a V shape, but it almost creates a V shape once it's all said and done. And if you've never used the Pinkfresh watercolors, the colors are very bold, and a little bit goes a long way. As you can see there, when I added that blue, it's very bold. So you don't need a lot. And since I used the gesso, I was able to dab up a lot of that and then add more water to soften it up. And it's just kind of an experiment, you know. I just see what happens as I go, add a little bit of black, add a little bit of blue, and just keep working at it. And if you add too much of one color, thanks to the gesso, you can dab some of it up and all is well. And yeah, it looks different, but I think once it's dry, it will look okay. I guess I did take it all the way to the side. I can't remember if I went all the way to the edges or not, but I also like to just grab my little squirt bottle of water to help add water and let the paper kind of do its thing when I tilt it up. You can kind of see there how it looks. I like how it looks faded. It's not going to be as dark as the dark blue and the die cuts, but I think it still was the correct color to go for, because I didn't want to go for green because I had that big green paper up at the top, so that's enough green. And I'm not a huge red fan, but obviously this is a Christmas layout, and red, it's going to have red in it. And my daughter's shirt is bright red, and so I felt like since that color is so bold, there's plenty of red already. So I thought, what's the third color that I could add that would contrast against those two? And of course it was the blue color. So that's why I went with the blue. I'm just adding a little bit more. I'm adding some splatters here, doing a little bit more spreading and blending. And I just want to make sure that whatever I add on top of this blue section, it's not going to completely cover it up. I want the blue watercolor to still be visible, and then I want all of these splatters to be visible around, you know, the top and the sides of the photos and whatever else embellishments get added in those areas. And I'm liking how this is looking. It's going to totally change once I start to add everything back on top of it. And then of course I was mentioning snow earlier. Yeah, I've only seen it once in my life, but you know, I like to imagine that it snows here in Florida, so I'm going to add my own snow, and that is just some white acrylic paint. Nothing special. I just add a dab of water to it and then just mix it up with the brush and then just go to town splattering. And I feel like this is the quickest and easiest way to add white splatters, and they're going to dry to where you can see them. You know, they're not going to evaporate and disappear when you dry it. I love how that looks. And I think it's going to look even better when I start to add everything back on top of it. So I'm going to start to build the layers and start to do a little bit of gluing. All those little bits and pieces that I want to layer behind the photos, I'm going to go ahead and start to glue those down. I really like the addition of the blue here, you know, and blue is usually not a Christmas color, but like I said before, it is okay to break tradition and get creative with your color schemes, you know. There's no law saying that you only have to use red and green for Christmas, you know. I've used pink before, I've used light blue, almost like a turquoise color before. It just depends on the collection and it depends on the photos. So yeah, be a rule breaker and, you know, add in extra colors. I think it's perfectly good. And there's also in this collection some gold color, like the golden mustard yellow, and kind of a royal blue. So you get the navy blue, and then there's also some royal blue mixed in. So you can get really creative with your color schemes. So I'm just going back through all of those die cut pieces and chipboard and stickers that I chose and playing around with them and see what I want to put where. I'm going to use that little strand of Christmas lights. I think they were the perfect little addition underneath that first photo there. And then I'm going to start to play with the title. And I think I'm going to use the outlines of the letters that I die cut. I just think they are so fun. Give you lots of opportunities for mixed media. And I like how you can see the blue through the white letters. So I think I'm going to do that. And I like that die cut that says magic that I added to the middle photo, and then I tucked in that poinsettia kind of underneath it. I like how that looks. So see, I've got plenty of red. I think red is a great color, not my favorite, but it's a great color for a layout like this in small doses, because even though there's really not a lot of red, there is still plenty of red in the layout, if that makes sense, because, you know, there's a lot of red in the photos, and then I'm going to add some little bits here and there that have red in them too. So I think red is a little bit goes a long way. So I'm going to start to glue things down. I'm going to glue the pictures down very carefully. I think I'm going to add something else to the bottom. I feel like there's some space kind of underneath the photos above the title that was just kind of open and plain. So I want to add some things there before I glue the title down. And I do want to add in some thread here. I'm going to add in the dark blue thread because, again, I feel like that's a nice color to put right there underneath magic and the poinsettia, and it's a nice contrast against the blue on the background because it's a little bit lighter and faded looking. This little half moon piece says holiday vibes. I'm going to add that. Or not half moon, half circle. Trying to decide what I want to put above the photos. If I want to add a couple of phrase or word die cuts. And that one at the top is red and white. It says spread joy. And then I feel like this little leaf stem was the perfect thing to add underneath the middle photo there by the poinsettia. It adds a pop of that dark green, and it's going to help kind of give this tucked away feeling to the title once I wedge in all of those letters. I think it's gonna just be the perfect thing for that section. Just trying a couple other things around the sides of the photos, not too sure what I want to add. So when I get to a point to where I don't know what I want to do, I move on to another section. So I know the title is going to go right here, but I just wasn't sure, like I said, if I was finished adding things underneath it. And I think at this point I am. So I'm going to very carefully add just little bits of glue behind these outline letters and start to glue them down. There's no way that I'm going to pop these up with adhesive foam because they're so thin. So I just glued those straight down. And I like that the title is subtle. You can see it, you can read it, but it's not so bold that it takes away from the photos. I like that it's subtle, and it's kind of like snow on the window pane. It's like the blue background is a foggy window, and then the Feelin feisty letters are kind of the snow, and you just get this little hint of faded letters. Does that Does that, is that what you're seeing? That's how my mind is working when I'm looking at it. Who knows? I see crazy things when I'm making layouts, but I like the effect of it. So I decided that I definitely needed something below the photo. Or not the photo, the title. So I went through everything again and chose a couple things to make a little cluster, and I tried to pick out things that had all the colors. So I've got some of the dark blue, some of the greens, some of the red, some of the faded red, and that little chipboard piece there says December Memories. And then to bring in another pop of that dark blue, I'm going to just use some thread with that. And yeah, I didn't want to just leave the whole bottom part completely white, so I feel like a little cluster was in order there, and I really like how that turned out. So I'm going to go ahead and glue her down. And I'm not sure at this point what I'm going to do for journaling, so I'm going to just go to something else. I'm going to fussy cut out this little tree from one of the pattern papers from the 6x6 paper pad, because I did want to stick a tree to the left, on the left of the left photo, because I did put two small puffy sticker trees over to the right on the right photo, and so I felt like I needed something on the left. So we're going to go with this little fussy cut tree, just a little something. I know it's green on green, and in order to break that up, I found this little label sticker right here that's kind of that faded red color, and I'm just going to cut it in half and use part of it as a little subtle layer right there. And I feel like that helps break up the little Christmas tree there, and it helps the photo kind of stand out a little bit more. Going to add in that little circle sticker with a star on it, and then oh yeah, I forgot I added in more thread. I felt like since I had thread, 2 areas of dark thread on the bottom, I needed 1 area at least on the top. So I'm going to tuck that in underneath the tree there. And then you can see there on the left, I've got my favorite embellishments from Pinkfresh Studio ready to add in, and those are the essentials, jewels, and crystals. I love those things, and I feel like I use them on every layout for Pinkfresh Studio. I've got some clear ones, I've got some red ones, and then some green ones. The green ones are the essential jewels, and then the red and the clear ones are crystals. And there's a slight difference in the two. The jewels have more of an iridescent shimmer and they're flat on top, whereas the crystals are more of a clear color and they have a point on top. But they are both flat on the bottom and they glue down great to any card or layout or anything. So I use a couple of each of those 3 colors just around the layout there. I'm showing you up close how they look. They create the greatest sparkle, the greatest dimension, and I love, love, love them. And I'll make sure to link everything that I'm using down below that is available in the store. So for the journaling, I decided to go with a label sticker, and it's the dark blue around the edges. So I'm going to just kind of work that into my cluster there. And to make sure it's straight, I'm going to use my ruler to draw some lines, and then use just a black fine tip Sharpie to write my journaling in. And I really, really like how this turned out. I love the papers. I love all of the embellishments. There's chipboard stickers. There are die cuts, puffy stickers. There's the final layout. I love how this turned out. I really do. I love that the title kind of was first, because some layouts my title comes last, but I love how that turned out. Again, that's the Heather lowercase, and I'll link those down below. But yeah, so many fun little things to choose from in this collection. So if you're looking for a Christmas collection, this one is fantastic. Again, it's called Oh What Fun from Pinkfresh Studio. I took a lot of close-ups here of all the details. I had fun making this one. I think it turned out really cute. And I hope it inspired you today. I hope it gives you some ideas to try, or, you know, maybe an idea on how to use 3 photos on a layout, or how to mix and match 2 different pattern papers, or how to use watercolor. I hope you got something out of this. So let me know if you have any questions, and I will see you in my next video. Thank you so, so much for watching, and I will see you next time.